Hi everyone, this is Cooking with Kurt. Today my husband Donald and I are going to show you how to make a chocolate marjolaine. These are layers of cashew meringue wafers filled with praline cream and a dark chocolate ganache, then topped and surrounded by crunchy cashews.
It's like a Sanzerval with chocolate and extra crunch. Thanks so much for this request. We hope you like this video.
We recommend doing this recipe over 2 days as there are several components to this cake. To start, we're going to make the cashew meringue wafers. Take 10 eggs and separate into yolks and whites. Let the 10 egg whites and 10 egg yolks come to room temperature. Place oven racks on the lower and upper third positions of your oven and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a sheet pan, add in 4 cups of cashews, and spread them out evenly. We're going to toast these cashews on the upper third rack of the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes, or until they are golden brown and toasted. Set them aside to cool. Turn down your oven temperature to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. Then take 2 sheet pans, these are 13 by 18 inches, and line the sheet pans with parchment paper. Take the fitted pieces of parchment paper and draw 2 8-inch diameter circles so that there are 2 circles per pan. I'm using an 8-inch cake ring, but you can use whatever you have. And I'm drawing the circles using the inside of the ring. It's okay if the circles touch a bit. There should be 4 circles total. Flip the parchment paper over so the side with the Sharpie marks faces down and away from the meringue wafers. Then take a food processor, add in 2 cups of toasted cashews, 1/3 cup of powdered sugar, and 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Pulse this till they are mixed and the cashews are very fine. It should look like a powder. Then in the bowl of your stand mixer, add in the 10 room temperature egg whites. With a whisk attachment, beat on medium speed till the egg whites become frothy. When the eggs look somewhat frothy, increase the speed to medium-high and add in 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. While continuing to mix, very slowly add in 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, a little at a time. When all the sugar has been added, increase the speed to high and continue beating till you see very stiff, shiny peaks, like this. Detach the bowl from the stand mixer and 1/3 at a time, carefully fold the cashew powder mixture into the meringue mixture, as well as 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, just until everything is evenly mixed and uniform. Dab a little meringue on the 4 corners of parchment paper so they don't flap up while baking. In a pastry bag fitted with no tip, transfer the cashew meringue mixture into the pastry bag. Use the prepared circles on the parchment paper as a guide to pipe the batter into circular wafers that are 8 inches in diameter. Pipe 2 circles per pan for a total of 4 wafers. I'm piping all 4 circles 1 ring at a time, going from circle to circle. Just eyeballing it, try to end up with the same amount of batter in each circle. Once all the batter has been piped, use an offset spatula or the back of a spoon to smoothen and flatten the tops of the wafers as much as possible. We're going to bake these meringue wafers in the preheated oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 hours. Then turn off the oven heat, but do not open the oven door, and leave the wafers in the turned off oven overnight to allow the wafers to continue drying out.
While the wafers are baking, we're going to work on our praline powder and pastry cream. For the praline powder, take a small sheet pan and line it with parchment paper. Then take a medium-sized saucepan, add in 1 cup of the toasted cashews, and 1 cup of powdered sugar. Turn on to medium heat and cook, stirring constantly. Eventually, the sugar will begin to melt. The whole process will take about 5 to 10 minutes. It will look dry in the beginning, then the sugar will form little balls as it gets heated. Continue cooking, stirring constantly until you no longer see any powdered sugar clinging to the cashews, and the mixture turns a light tan brown color with a syrupy texture. Keep a close watch and be careful not to overcook the mixture. Otherwise, it'll take on a slight burnt flavor. Quickly pour the mixture onto the parchment paper lined sheet pan, spreading it out but trying not to touch the sides not lined with parchment paper. The mixture will harden into a cashew brittle or praline. When the praline is cool, break it into pieces. Use the food processor to grind it to a fine powder. Store this cashew praline powder, as well as the leftover toasted cashews, in Ziploc bags or other airtight containers. Leave these at room temperature to be used the next day.
The third and final component we'll be making on day 1 is the pastry cream. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add in the 10 room temperature egg yolks and half a cup of granulated sugar. Using the whisk attachment, mix together on high speed until it looks thick and lemon yellow in color. Then add in 1/3 cup of cornstarch and continue to mix until everything is fully combined. Set this aside for now. In a medium-sized saucepan, add in 3 cups of whole milk and heat over medium heat. Once the milk is hot and steaming, turn off the heat. Turn the stand mixer on medium speed. Add in about 1/3 of the hot milk into the egg mixture and mix them till they're combined. Quickly detach the bowl from the stand mixer. Then, while vigorously whisking the steaming milk in the saucepan by hand, add the milk-egg mixture back into the steaming milk in the saucepan and whisk them together until well combined. It's important to constantly whisk during this process so the egg doesn't get scrambled and become lumpy. Turn back onto medium heat and bring it to a boil, whisking constantly. Once it starts to bubble, continue cooking for another 1 to 2 minutes. Then remove from the heat. Add in 8 tablespoons or 1 stick of unsalted butter into the hot pastry cream, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, and an optional 2 tablespoons of dark rum. Whisk this together until it is fully combined.
If you prefer not to add alcohol, just leave out the dark rum. There's no need to substitute it with anything.
Take a large mixing bowl and transfer the pastry cream into the mixing bowl. By now, the pastry cream should have cooled to warm and no longer extremely hot. Cover it with plastic wrap so that the plastic wrap is touching the surface of the pastry cream to prevent a skin from forming. Rest this pastry cream in the fridge overnight. The next day, the cashew meringue wafers should be completely dry and sound hollow when you knock on them, and they should come off the parchment paper quite easily. You can leave them at room temperature uncovered. The low temperature of 225 degrees Fahrenheit and the long baking time of 6 hours and leaving the meringue wafers in the turned off oven overnight is necessary to remove all the moisture from the egg whites, creating a hollow and dry wafer without burning the outer layer of meringue.
Once you've set aside your cashew meringue wafers, the next thing we're going to do is make the chocolate ganache. Take a small microwave-safe bowl and add in half a cup of heavy cream. Microwave the heavy cream for about 60 seconds or until the heavy cream is hot. If you don't have a microwave, you can also heat the heavy cream on the stove. When the heavy cream is hot, add in 2/3 cup or about 4 ounces of dark chocolate chips. Whisk these together until the chocolate is completely melted and blended. Set this chocolate ganache aside till it comes to room temperature and it has the consistency of a thick, spreadable frosting.
You can also stick it in the fridge briefly to help speed up the thickening and cooling process.
The final step before assembling the cake is to finish the Diplomat Cream, which is just the pastry cream with whipped cream folded into it. Take the cooled down pastry cream from the fridge, remove the plastic wrap, and whisk it to break up any lumps that may have formed and make it smooth again. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add in 1½ cups of very cold heavy cream and 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. With the whisk attachment, whisk this together on medium-high speed until you see stiff peaks forming, like this. Then 1/3 at a time, carefully fold this whipped cream into the pastry cream until they are smooth and well blended. Divide the resulting Diplomat Cream into 2 separate and equal portions. Into 1/2, fold in 1 cup of the praline powder. This praline flavored cream will be used for the inside layers of the cake in between the cashew meringue wafers. Leave the second half as plain vanilla cream. The plain vanilla cream will be used for the outer layer of the cake as well as the top border decoration.
By now, the chocolate ganache frosting should have cooled down to a spreadable consistency, which means we're ready to assemble the cake. Take a cake board that's greater than 8 inches in diameter, this is a 10-inch cake board, and place it on a revolving cake stand. Dab a little of the plain vanilla cream in the center of the cake board to prevent the cake from sliding around. Place the first meringue wafer in the middle of the cake board. Spread about 1/4 of the chocolate ganache mixture on top of the wafer, forming a thin layer of chocolate. Refrigerate the cake for 10 minutes for the chocolate ganache to harden. After 10 minutes in the fridge, spread 1/3 of the praline cream on top of the chocolate layer, smoothing it as much as possible. Place the second meringue wafer on top and repeat the same steps, adding 1/4 of the chocolate ganache, forming a thin layer, then refrigerating it for 10 minutes, then adding 1/3 of the praline cream, spreading it into a smooth, flat layer. Repeat this again with a third meringue wafer, 1/4 of the chocolate ganache, then refrigerating for 10 minutes, and the last 1/3 of the praline cream on top. Add the fourth meringue wafer as the final wafer layer, then top with the last 1/4 of the chocolate ganache. Place this in the fridge for 10 minutes for the final top layer of chocolate ganache to harden. Then use the plain vanilla cream to fill in the gaps and frost the sides of the cake, as well as frost the top surface. I'm using a bench scraper to flatten out the top and create smooth sides as much as possible. Be sure to save some of the vanilla cream for the top border of the cake. And it's okay if you see a little chocolate mixed in with the vanilla cream, since the sides and top surfaces will get covered later on. Place the cake in the fridge together with the remaining vanilla cream to let the outer layer of vanilla cream on the cake firm up for about 30 minutes. Take 1 cup of the toasted cashews and roughly chop them into little pieces. Save about 1/4 cup of the chopped cashews and set them aside. Press the remaining chopped cashews into the vanilla cream on the side so that they stick along the top half of the cake's circumference. Let this rest in the fridge for 30 minutes for the vanilla cream to firm up again and for the toasted cashews on the side to set. Then similarly, take chocolate sprinkles and press them into the vanilla frosting so that they stick along the bottom half of the cake's side wall. When you're happy with how the sides of your cake looks, clean up any excess cashews and chocolate sprinkles from the base of the cake. Let this rest for about 30 minutes for the vanilla cream to harden up a bit and allow the added decoration to set. Then take a piping bag and attach a large petal tip. I'm using a number 127 and fill it up with the remaining vanilla cream. We're going to create a border around the top circumference of the cake. With the wide end of the petal tip pointing down, hold the tip at a 45-degree angle and pipe the cream left to right in a zigzag pattern while moving along the circumference of the cake. Do this all the way around the cake. Take the 1/4 cup of chopped cashews we had set aside earlier and garnish the center, creating a mound of cashews in the middle of the vanilla cream border. Finally, take a handful of dark chocolate chips and garnish the center with a few dark chocolate chips for additional decoration. We're going to chill the finished cake in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours for the layers to set. This cake will keep in the fridge for up to 3 days, but the cashew meringue wafers will slowly lose their crunchiness over time as they absorb moisture from the chocolate ganache and praline filling. Serve this cake chilled. And there it is, chocolate marjolaine. Layers of crunchy cashew meringue wafers filled with praline cream and dark chocolate ganache and finished with toasted cashews. Ang sarap!
Yum!
The praline and chocolate flavors go together really well.
And I love that crunchy texture from the meringue and the toasted cashews.
Thank you all so much for watching. Please let us know in the comment section below if you're planning to make this chocolate marjolaine. Send us pictures of your creations on Facebook and Instagram. The links are below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Cooking with Kurt.
And don't forget to click on the bell so you get notified when we post new cooking videos. Maraming salamat!